Adaeze was a lover girl who believed love could do everything. If her boyfriend Dotun told her that love could help fish swim on land, she would nod and say, "Of course." Adaeze was a tall, fine girl from Enugu with a lively personality and zero patience. She worked as a sales assistant in a boutique and always posted selfies of her and her boyfriend with captions like "Love lives here" and "Get you a man like mine." Dotun was her sweet boyfriend. He was a calm, tall guy from Ibadan who always wore turtleneck polo and glasses. His dress sense made him look like a polymath, and he believed he had sense more than everybody else. He even once told Adaeze, "I passed my driving test on my first try. If I teach you, trust me, you will drive like a boss within 1 week." Adaeze smiled that day and said, "That is why I love you. You are so smart." However, that was the beginning of their problems. One Saturday afternoon, Adaeze was with her two friends, Rita and Ngozi, in front of the house, gisting under a mango tree. She told them excitedly, "Dotun wants to start teaching me how to drive tomorrow." Ngozi paused. "Wait, who? Dotun now?" Rita's eyes widened. "Wait, you want to learn how to drive from your boyfriend? Are you okay?" Adaeze rolled her eyes. "What is wrong with that?" Ngozi raised her hand dramatically like a prophetess. "My sister tried this same thing last year. Guess what? She's now single and still taking Okada. She nearly entered gutter with her ex-boyfriend during driving lessons." Rita added, "It is true. That is how small arguments inside car turned into full breakup." She forcefully stepped on the brake instead of clutch. The guy screamed, "You won't kill me," and just left her there. Adaeze laughed. "You people exaggerate too much. Dotun is not like that. He's gentle and very patient. He even said he loves me more when I make mistakes." Rita shook her head pitifully. "Okay, oh, just don't come back crying one day." Adaeze folded her arms proudly. "Don't worry, our love is different." The next day, Dotun came to pick Adaeze in his uncle's old silver Toyota Corolla. He cleaned the chair, opened the door for her like a gentleman and said, "Madam, today you become a driver." Adaeze was blushing. She sat, adjusted the seat and placed her two hands on the steering like a film star. "I am ready." Dotun explained slowly. "This is the brake. This is the accelerator. This one is the clutch. You don't need it now. Just listen to my instructions." She nodded as if she understood everything, even though her brain was trying to comprehend the first thing he said. He continued, "Turn the key, press the brake gently, shift to gear 1, and then move slowly." Adaeze smiled. "Like this?" She turned the key and the car started. Then she stepped on something that made the car jump like a frog. "Yay!" Dotun shouted as he hit his head on the dashboard. "Ah, sorry, I think I touched the wrong one." He wiped his forehead. "Okay, no problem, just relax. Remember, this is not keke." They tried again. This time, she pressed the accelerator hard and the car rushed forward. Dotun screamed again, "Brake! Use your brake!" Adaeze lifted her leg and said, "Which one is brake again?" "The middle one." "Middle of what?" Dotun reached over, stepped on the brake for her and hissed loudly. She looked at him. "Why are you shouting?" Dotun stared at her. "Because I just saw my spirit leave my body and come back." Adaeze folded her arms. "So, you are angry at me for making one small mistake?" Dotun blinked hard. "Small? Adaeze, you nearly turned me into memory now." And just like that, the tension began. They parked under a tree and Adaeze refused to talk. Dotun didn't say a word either. Finally, she muttered, "I thought you said you were patient." Dotun looked at her. "I was, until you nearly drove us into the gates of heaven." Adaeze hissed and opened the car door. "Next time, I'll just go to a driving school peacefully." But Deep down, they both wanted to prove a point. Adaeze didn't want her friend to be right, and Dotun didn't want any other man to teach his babe how to drive. So they both swallowed their anger and decided to continue. The next day came fast. Adaeze wore leggings and white sneakers like a proud learner. She even updated her WhatsApp status. Day 2, driving with babe. Dotun saw the post and smiled, but deep down, he was still recovering from yesterday's shock. He prayed silently that morning. Dear Lord, please, don't let me die from love. I still have dreams. They drove to an empty school field to practice. Dotun calmly said, let's try turning today. Just small turning. Adaeze nodded. Alright, today I will amaze you. Dotun began. Okay, now move forward gently. Adaeze did. Good. Now turn left. But she turned right. Dotun blinked. No, I said turn left. I heard you, Adaeze said, but she was still going right. Adaeze, then why are you turning right? Adaeze frowned. I thought it was my left. Dotun looked at her unbelievably. Adaeze, raise your hand and tell me which one is your left. Adaeze raised her right hand. Dotun screamed, are you sure you are okay? Adaeze shouted back, stop shouting like that, you are only confusing me. But Dotun shouted even more, you are the one confusing the road. That is how you people climb pole. Still, he calmed down and said, okay, let's try again. Adaeze moved again. She did fine for 2 minutes. Then she came face to face with a small bend. Dotun told her, use the brake, hold your steering tight and slow down. But Adaeze stepped hard on the accelerator. Dotun grabbed the door in fear. Brake, I beg. This time, Adaeze pressed the horn instead. Brake, not horn. Which one is brake, Dotun? The middle one now. Adaeze panicked, lifted both feet off the pedals and closed her eyes. The car swerved, jumped a bump, and stopped half in, half out of the road. Immediately, Dotun came out, breathing like someone who just survived a lion attack, while Adaeze remained inside with her arms folded and her lips squeezed. She refused to look at him. Dotun bent down to her window. Why didn't you step on the brake? She replied, I was under pressure and you were shouting, making it worse. Dotun sighed. Because you were going to enter gutter. Adaeze scoffed. You are not patient at all. Love is patience. But Dotun shook his head. This has nothing to do with love, Adaeze. This is trial and temptation. He drove back home silently while Adaeze stared out of the window like a sad movie heroine. When they got to her compound, she hissed and said, maybe I'll just call Wale. Dotun looked at her sharply. You want Wale to teach you? Well, he offered to teach me, Adaeze bragged. Fine, go and meet him. Maybe he will survive the torture. She stepped out of the car, slammed the door, and marched off. Dotun watched her walk away and muttered under his breath, as I didn't die today, I can never die again. That night, Dotun could not sleep. He tossed, turned and rolled from one end of the bed to the other like puff-puff in hot oil. His mind was filled with flashbacks of Adaeze turning right instead of left, pressing horn when he said brake, and her closing her eyes when she saw a pothole as if she was in a prayer meeting. He held his chest and whispered, I am too young to die. Finally, by 2:30 a.m., Dotun slept, but what came next was not peace. He found himself sitting in the front row of a church wearing all white. The church was full, but the irony was that it was his picture that was in front with a frame of white ribbon and the words Dotun Ayomide 1996 to 2025 drove to glory. The pastor was shouting from the pulpit, let this be a lesson to you all. Never let love drive you into death. Dotsun's friend were crying and someone shouted, "Na girlfriend kill am o." Another person added, "She pressed run when she was supposed to press stop." Dotsun was confused, but as he turned, he saw Adaeze walking in wearing dark shades, chewing gum and whispering to her friend. "I told him to trust me now, but he died even before I could find the bricks." Dotsun screamed inside the dream, "No, I'm not dead." He tried to jump from the coffin, but it was too late. The congregation shouted amen, and the coffin lid closed. Dotsun jerked up from sleep, sweating like a goat at a wedding banquet. He touched his arms and his legs, and when he was sure that he was still alive, he said a prayer of thanksgiving, took his phone and quickly typed, "Good morning, Adaeze. I'm sorry, but I cannot continue the driving lesson. This is bigger than me." He paused, then deleted "This is bigger than me" and rewrote, "My health is more important. Please, let's let a driving school handle it. I still love you." He sent the message, then threw the phone across the bed and laid back in peace, like someone who had just escaped prison. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Adaeze woke up smiling and ready to continue the driving practice. But as she saw the message, her smile disappeared like NEPA lights. "What is all this?" she asked aloud. She immediately called him, but Dotsun didn't pick, so she sent him a message. "Dotsun, so because of one small mistake, you want to abandon me?" Dotsun replied, "It is not small. You nearly sent me to heaven twice." Adaeze hissed and then made a deadly move. She typed, "If you won't teach me again, no wahala. I will ask Wale, and this time I am serious." Dotsun saw the message and stood up like soldier hearing gunshots. "Wale ke, that useless boy that failed driving test 3 times. He wants to teach my babe?" So he immediately replied, "Fine, I will continue the lesson, but let me warn you, one more mistake and I will drop you in the bush." Adaeze smiled victoriously. "Thank you, my love. I knew you would never abandon me." By the 3rd lesson, Dotsun had made peace with his destiny. He knew there were only 2 possible outcomes. Adaeze would either learn how to drive, or she would send him to the great beyond with one wrong gear. That Saturday, he wore a white shirt and white trousers, just in case the angels needed to receive him that day. When Adaeze came out in her black top and fine sneakers, she was chewing gum and wearing sunglasses like a celebrity driver. She opened the door confidently and said, "Today I'm ready. You'll be proud of me." Dotsun forced a smile. "Please, just remember, break is life. Break is your friend." She laughed. "Relax, baby. I've watched like 3 driving videos on YouTube. I've got this." Dotsun balanced, fastened his seat belt and hugged himself. They drove to a quiet street not far from the market. Adaeze started slowly at first. She was moving well and turning properly. Dotsun was impressed. "Wow, you are doing well." She smiled proudly. "I told you I'm gifted." Then they reached a bend, a simple curved road. Dotsun said, "Slow down and move to the left a little." Adaeze nodded, but instead of slowing down, she pressed the accelerator as if soldier ants entered her foot. Before Dotsun could shout, bam! She ran straight into a big black waste bin by the roadside. The bin rolled like tire and spilled everything on the road. Spoiled tomatoes, pepper nylon, baby diaper, and 2 angry rats. Dotsun froze. Adaeze removed her glasses slowly. Is that supposed to happen? Dotsun looked at her ridiculously. "You just jammed Loma's child. That is government's waste bin." People started gathering immediately. One old man with toothpick in his mouth shouted, "Na so e dey start o. Today na waste bin, tomorrow na human being she go jam." Adaeze came out of the car and tried to explain, "I'm really sorry. It was the wind. It pushed the steering." Dotun stood with his hands on his head. "Adaeze, wound does not press accelerator." Adaeze hissed, "So you are blaming me again?" "Who else should I blame?" Dotun asked. Adaeze folded her arms. "This is why I said you are not patient. Just small mistake and you are shouting again." Dotun replied, "This is not small o. You hit a waste bin. That is federal property. You know Loma can arrest me for this, right? You should be supporting me, Dotun, and not shouting." Dotun scoffed. "I supported you the first time, the second time, and the third time, but now you have upgraded from gutter to environmental pollution." Dotun opened the door, entered the driver's seat and said, "Enter, let's go." Adaeze hissed, "Oh, now you want to drive? Have you given up on me already?" Dotun didn't answer. On the way, Adaeze sat in silence, folded her arms, and kept her face straight like traffic sign. They passed the place where she once pressed horn instead of brake, past the busy streets, and then Dotun suddenly turned into a narrow bush road with trees on both sides. Adaeze sat up in confusion. "Where are we going?" Dotun didn't say anything. She asked again, "Dotun, this place looks like where people disappear." Dotun replied coldly, "Don't worry, very soon you will understand." The bush road was very quiet. The birds didn't tweet, neither did breeze blow. It was one of those long narrow roads with tall trees on both sides, small potholes in the middle, and the kind of silence that made you hear your own heartbeats. Adaeze looked around nervously. "Dotun, please, where are we going?" Dotun didn't panic. Rather, he was calm, too calm. The kind of calm you see in Nollywood before someone disappears. Adaeze's mouth went dry. She shifted in her seat. "Are we lost?" Dotun slowly pulled the car to a stop in the middle of the road, turned off the engine, turned to her and smiled mysteriously. "Get down," he said. Adaeze blinked. "Sorry, for what?" "Come down and take the steering." Adaeze opened her mouth, then closed it. "Is this another lesson?" Dotun nodded. "Yes, the final one." "But why here?" Dotun pointed around. "Because there is no distraction here, no waste bin to jam, and no human being to jam too. It's just you and the road." Adaeze was still shaking, but she got down, walked around the car, and got into the driver's seat. Dotun got into the passenger seat and fastened his seatbelt very tightly. He then gave her one simple direction. "Look at your left. Can you see that bush? It means death. Look to your right. Can you see that deep gutter? It is also death. Now, this is the middle. This middle represents life. So, choose wisely." Adaeze froze. "Wait, is this a threat?" "No, it is reality." "Are you mad?" Dotun smiled. "Possibly." Adaeze looked at him unbelievably. "Dotun, you brought me to a bush to do driving test. What if I crash?" Dotun smiled. "Then you will crash with purpose. Remember, left and right are deaths." Adaeze wiped sweat from her forehead. "I can see you finally lost it." He sat back and said, "Start the car, oh, let's leave here fast. If not, we'll both sleep here." Adaeze's hands were shaking. She turned the key and the engine came on. She looked left again and saw bush. She looked right and saw gutter. She looked forward and saw the narrow, dusty road. Then she whispered to herself, "Adaeze, if you survive this today, tomorrow you have to go to a proper driving school." She placed her foot gently on the accelerator and the car moved slowly. The steering was shaking and her hands were sweaty. She tried so hard to stay in the middle of the road while Dotun kept shouting, "Don't drift, oh, middle is life, remember." "Stop shouting, Dotun, I am trying." A snake crossed the road. Adaeze screamed but kept going. A bird flew across the windscreen. She nearly fainted, but she held it and drove through slowly with the consciousness that her life was in her hands at that moment. After what felt like 1 hour, but in reality, it was only 15 minutes, they finally reached a main junction with people and vehicles. Adaeze pressed brake, opened the door, and jumped out like a prisoner escaping Alcatraz Island. She shouted to Dotun, who was still smiling and clapping like he just finished listening to a TED talk. Dotun, I am done. You almost killed me. Adaeze didn't wait for a second. She climbed the public bus, paid the conductor, and sat down, breathing hard. Back inside the car, Dotun watched her go and whispered to himself, "She didn't kill me, and I didn't kill her. Thank you, Lord." Then he sighed and drove back home alone. Adaeze got home with dust in her hair, sweat under her armpits, and anger boiling in her blood like ogbono soup on high heat. The moment she entered the compound, she marched straight into Rita and Ngozi's room. They were lying down and watching a movie on the phone. As soon as they saw Adaeze's face, they paused the movie. Ngozi sat up. "Adaeze, what happened? You look like someone that just escaped kidnap." Rita nodded. "Did you fight in traffic, or is it lasma?" Adaeze dropped her bag, slumped on the bed, spread her arms wide, and screamed, "This boy won't kill me." Rita sat up. "Talk fast now. What happened?" Adaeze sat up and narrated everything, from the waste bin jam to the fight, to the strange bush road, and to the bus escape. By the time she finished, Ngozi's mouth was wide open while Rita was rolling on the bed laughing. Ngozi finally found her voice. "So wait, your boyfriend carried you to a bush road and told you to choose between death and life?" Adaeze shouted, "Yes, as if he's Angel Gabriel." Rita laughed so hard that tears came out. "I told you not to learn from your boyfriend, Abi. I said it, but you said love is patient. Now, you have entered one chance. Just thank your God that nothing happened to you." While her friends were still blaming her, Adaeze picked up her phone, ignored the missed calls from Dotun, opened WhatsApp, and typed, "You carried me to a bush to finish me. I have never been so scared in my life. That was not love. That was madness. I am done with you, Dotun. This relationship is over." She paused and then added one last line. "Next time, just register someone in driving school instead of dragging their soul to heaven." She sent the message, blocked his number, then lay down and sighed loudly. Meanwhile, Dotun was in his room thinking about his life when he saw her message. He scoffed and hissed, "Oh, so she's angry now. She almost killed me 3 times, and when I complained, she said I was shouting too much. At least she now knows how fear feels." He typed back, "Oh, so now you know what it feels like when someone's life is in danger. Since Tuesday, I have been dreaming about my funeral, and you thought I was overreacting." He pressed send, but the message didn't deliver. He blinked and froze. "She blocked me? It is finished. Well, thank God I survived." 6 months passed, and Adaeze and Dotun had not crossed paths again. After her dramatic bush escape, Adaeze did the one thing she should have done from the beginning. She enrolled in a proper driving school. Her instructor, Mr. Jide, was a patient man who never shouted. The man was so calm that the one time she climbed a pavement, he just smiled and said, "You missed it, but it is okay. Let's try again." She felt peace this time. There were no shouting, no threats, and no obituary dreams, just driving and reasonable correction. So, by her second week, she was already doing reverse and parallel parking, and by the third week, she could face small traffic without fear. As for Dotun, he was also doing fine. After Adaeze blocked him, he focused on his IT work and told anyone who cared to listen that he was not looking for love again. Well, he soon met a new girl in church named Tope. She was soft-spoken and gentle. And guess what? Tope already had a driver's license. When Dotun found out, he almost cried from joy. Thank you, Lord. At least I won't have to suffer that affliction twice. And then, one Friday evening, as fate would have it, Adaeze and Dotun met again. Dotun was driving down Allen Avenue with Tope in the passenger seat. They stopped at a red light and a car rolled to a stop beside them with a smooth ride. Dotun looked sideways and froze when he saw that it was Adaeze. She had one hand on the steering and one hand resting confidently on the window. They made eye contact and she waved small at him while he nodded slowly at her. Then she looked forward, stepped on the accelerator gently and drove off smoothly when the light turned green. Tope turned to Dotun. Do you know her? Dotun smiled and said, yes, she was the one who once drove me to the edge of glory. Later that night, Adaeze updated her WhatsApp status. Never learn life skills from people you are emotionally attached to. Not all lessons should be taught by love. And when her friend Rita saw the status, she laughed and replied, God bless the man that invented driving school. Now, we know that driving is a serious skill, not an emotional experiment. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What did you love about the story? And what lessons did you learn from the story? Share the story out with your loved ones. Give the story a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!